Yo, what up YouTube? It's your boy Gabi here, and today we are going to be talking about inspiration and how to get inspiration for you to create your manga or graphic novel or comic or your series overall. But before we get into that, I am going to be saying sorry for the live stream that I did on the last video. I actually went live and I tried to draw a couple of characters from The Rising of the Shield Hero, yes. And it looked very blurry in some parts. Wow, it was just crazy. You know, people kept on coming into my room, interrupting me while I was trying to record and stuff. So that won't happen again. And as well, an update of my stories or my series, Me the Mumbie. And it's that I am currently working on my Volume 2 storyboarding. I already have 5 chapters done, so that's 106 pages that I've storyboarded thus far. I am almost finishing with the storyboarding part of the Volume 2, so I can start up the chapter and a half that I have left of my Volume 1, so I can start launching my series on Webtoons. And speaking about Webtoons, I also created a Patreon account. I am only accepting $1 right now. Don't worry, I'm not trying to tell you, hop on Patreon with Slap Punch Manga or whatever. No, that's just an account that I need to have, if I remember correctly, to join and try to get featured on the Webtoons. So, people can go to your Patreon and go donate. And if you become featured, that's the way Patreon pays you, etc., etc. So, let's get back to the topic that I have in hand, and that is inspiration. Now, inspiration, as you can see, inspiration comes a long way. You have to be inspired to actually make a good work, to do something that's decent, to do something that's out of this world, to do something that's concrete, correct? Yeah. So, if as you can see behind me, I've been inspired ever since I was little by Dragon Ball Z, and those type of cartoons or anime or whatever you want to call it. And I've also had a big inspiration of Naruto as well. So, between Naruto and Dragon Ball Z, that's actually what actually clicked in, and that's what helped me become and make the stuff that I'm making right now, which is my series, Me the Mumbie. And inspiration comes hand in hand with observation. And let me be very, very clear about that. Observation can turn into inspiration if you are observant. Now, what I mean about that is this. When you're watching a movie, when you're watching a series, when you're even watching regular cartoons, or even watching anime, or even reading a book, or reading a graphic novel, or reading a manga, you have to be observant, and you have to look at the key points and the key factors that they use to make you get intrigued into their story. You have to learn how to pick that up. And, there are certain parts of a movie, certain parts, just like these very quick scenes that you just go like, wow, and your mind blows, correct? And that's when you get a key factor of inspiration. Be like, wow, you see that right there? I actually like that scene, and I want to do this, I want to do that. Or kind of like Naruto, they're using ninjas. Now you want to create a ninja story that's very different and unique. So, you actually got inspired through Naruto, correct? So being observant is actually very good. So if you got inspired by Naruto, or you got inspired by that type of movie, see how they use their action scenes, see how they tell their story, and get bits and pieces of it so you can actually incorporate it into yours. I'm not saying to take the same plot that they're using, no, but just be observant, and try to learn from them, so that when it's your time to actually make your stuff, you actually have this idea, this notion of what to do, or what not to do as well. Because at the same time, you could be observant of the good things, but also be observant of the bad things, of parts that people pretty much criticized, parts that you didn't really like, that you thought that it could be just a little bit better. So observation comes a long way when you're actually ready to get inspired. Now, if you've never done a manga, if you never made a graphic novel, or even a comic, or even wrote a book, I highly advise you to go ahead and pick up a manga, pick up a graphic novel, read something or watch something, just so you can be observant of how they actually put the panels, how they make the panels, how each sequence go into well, how each thing goes into every sequence, so you can actually see the flow of what happens. So one big mistake that I used to do was this, that there was an action scene, and the dude had to like throw a punch. So I would draw like one panel of him going like this, and the next panel like him like landed the punch. So it was just pretty much this, and then him hitting the punch, and then the guy on the floor or whatever. But no, you have to learn how to do the flow. You know, you have to, because when you're reading a manga or a graphic novel, you have to go through the scenes so that it can actually make this film in your head. So you can like see this series, so you can see this story to life. So if the guy is going to throw a punch, have him getting ready to square up, then make the panel where he actually threw the punch, then make the panel of the guy probably looking at the punch or going to his face or being surprised at it, and then you make the panel where he lands the punch. So that's 4 panels right there, where he lands the punch, and then you can see the other panel where he's like backing away from it, and then he falls onto the floor. Or if he's being dragged through the floor, you could drag him out through the floor. If he's not, you know, stuff like that. So this actually helps the reader to get a picture in their mind, and it helps them to form part of your story, and it actually gets them very excited, because it's like if they're watching a movie. So that's one thing that you have to be very observant about, and I've been very observant of that in my past few years. The first time I ever made a manga or intended to make a manga, I was 13. I had this story called Manga Generation, and it was horrible. I made 33 chapters in total, so 33 episodes, and it was very Dragon Ball Z heavy. You know, there was transforming into Super Saiyans. It was pretty much transforming into Super Saiyans, and it was crazy, you know. But I used to call it Manga 1 and Manga 2, like if that made a big difference. It was a real deal Super Saiyan. But you know, that helped me with the whole panel, with the whole creating plot, with the whole making your characters, you know, because I used to just grab the characters from Dragon Ball Z, twist them up, and make my own, you know. Of course, you know, because when you're little, that's what you do, right? So that actually helped me out a lot. So that's one thing that I just have to say, you know, when you get inspiration, it's through observation. Observation is actually a big key role into inspiration, and just remember that. If you're making a story, or if you're thinking about creating a story, be observant, you know, get information, your throughout daily life, you know, just really be observant. If you have a bad memory, or anything down the line, you know, just go ahead, whip out your cell phone or any type of notepad you have, and just write it down, you know, observe those key little points. I still do that till today. There's this one point that I like at the anime, and I just really like how they did it, and how everything just transcended into this big scene. I write down, you know, such a point of whatever, and I write down, you know, how the story did, and how this and how that, and you know, it's up to a point that I actually really liked it. So then later down the line, I can go ahead and convert it and try to make it mine, you know. I mean, that's how great things happen, pretty much. So be observant, and this is your boy Gabi. I have nothing else to say, and peace out.